So, have you ever thought intentionally about how you want your children to view and feel about death? Is this something you even thought about? Or is it something that maybe you've even avoided because you don't like to even think about death? Hi, my name is Krista, and welcome to Thrive Daily. So, death is an interesting thing because it feels like this heavy, burdensome, negative thing that a lot of us, I think, tend to avoid. Don't like to talk about death or look at death or experience death. It's always sad. It's always hard. It's always this negative thing. But death is part of life, right? We are born and we die, and it happens every day all over the world. Okay, so where am I going with this? So we recently had some pets die at our house. Actually, in the last few months, we've had three of our five pets die. We have had a lot of pets at our house. My children just love them and want pets all the time because they're so fun, right? I'm sure many of your children are the same way. We've had a lot of rabbits, we've had fish, a dog, guinea pigs, some ducks, some gerbils, and we have a turtle. So we've gone through a lot of pets. And honestly, we had never until recently had any pets die because most of the time we have sold them or given them away when we couldn't take care of them anymore. But we had these two gerbils, they're brothers, that we got right around COVID time in 2020. And they usually live 3 to 4 years. And so for the past year, we've been kind of expecting them to pass. And we took a vacation in January. And a few weeks after we got home, one of the gerbils was missing. Like we couldn't find him. We couldn't see where he was. And I was like, oh, I'm guessing he's not alive anymore. So my son and my daughter actually went through and were cleaning the cage out, going through the bedding handful by handful, looking for poor Simon. And we found him. He was just curled up, shriveled up, this dead little body, but he was still intact. His brother hadn't eaten him, which was another fear of mine. So I'm glad that wasn't the case. I had never really witnessed a pet die. And it was, it wasn't as bad as I thought. I just grabbed a tissue and pulled him out and we wrapped him up. And then we buried him in our backyard. And my children were sad and they missed him and all of that, but they handled it fine. But then a couple months later, we noticed Hopscotch, his brother, because we were more on the lookout. We were more ready for it, more prepared. We were watching more closely. And so we noticed the signs of him getting nearer and nearer to death. And it was really sad. It was heartbreaking actually to watch him not be able to move and he would get stuck and he was not eating and drinking as well. And then just days before he died, he really wasn't moving at all. And he only stayed in this one spot. And he was just really still. We kept going over like, is he still alive? And he would poke up his little head and look at you. It was the sweetest thing. But those 2 or 3 days were really hard to watch him struggle because you knew he was suffering. And it was hard. And we just kept trying to send him love. And I mean, how do you make a gerbil comfortable before death? I don't know. But we just tried to be there for him. And then eventually he was gone. And it was a really interesting experience. And it was really interesting to watch my kids go through that process. And I think it's a really good thing for kids to witness and to experience. So let me ask you and let me know in the comments, what experiences do you have with death? Positive, negative, and is death something you freely talk about at your house? Or is it kind of this taboo thing like, no, we don't really want to bring that up? Sometimes I think we want to shield our children from any traumatizing things or events. But then I feel like we make it weird for them later and don't allow them the opportunity to work through those emotions and have it be a normal thing. We kind of prevent death, this major part of life, be normalized for them, which I think can be so beneficial to be able to talk freely about death, to witness, to experience, and to realize that it's okay. It's a normal, natural process of life, and I can handle it. I'm strong enough to handle this emotionally. Sometimes I think our own inability to deal with these big emotions and these hard, heavy things gets passed on to our children, and they have a hard time with it. And I would just invite us all to consider that talking about death can be a really beneficial, healthy thing for our children. Yes, it makes them sad, but sadness isn't always a bad thing. It means that they meant something to them. And it's an experience worth having, and it prepares them for real life events. And I think it's so good for them, especially when they're little. It gives them an opportunity to grieve and to process those heavy, dark emotions that are so necessary to learn how to process. Because a lot of us as adults still don't know how to grieve very well. And so if we can learn how to do that when we're young, we are setting ourselves up for success later in life. So I hope this has meant something to you today. And if it has, go ahead and share it with a friend, share it with someone who might find value in it. And if you'd like more resources on how to thrive daily as a mom, go ahead and visit mycorenourishment.com and have an awesome day.